Hello, I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Rachel.
Hi, I'm Rabbit.
And I'm Emily.
Welcome to Week 2 of Future Proof, a show aimed at telling you about all the disinformation around the lead up to the Scottish election. But first, we've got the weekly roundup. Emily?
So in the news this week, we have the Scottish political parties setting out their visions for their manifestos ahead of the election. So the Scottish Greens have unveiled their plans in Glasgow this week, with the co-leaders Gillian Mackay and Ross Greer announcing their goal to provide free bus travel and dental treatment to everyone in Scotland. And then secondly, we have Scottish Labour, who has shared their manifesto, promising changes to the NHS and cuts to waiting times. And then Reform UK, who launched their plans kind of earlier in the campaign, but for a reminder, they're focusing on tax cuts with anti-establishment messaging. And the SNP and Scottish Lib Dems are still not publishing their manifesto, but they're expected to over the next couple of days. So we'll be following that.
Also in Scotland news, the Scottish branch of your party, the Corbyn-Sultana breakaway that promised to shake up UK politics just 9 months ago, has collapsed after its entire Scottish leadership resigned. That makes it the second major party after the breakaway Alba party, which dissolved last month, to withdraw from this upcoming election.
In international news, Hungary has seen a major political shift as opposition leader Peter Magyar defeated Prime Minister Viktor Orban, ending Fidesz's 16-year party rule. Magyar's party secured a 2/3 majority in parliament, giving him huge powers to change the constitution and push through new reforms. This is significant because Orban has dominated the political sphere in Hungary for over a decade, and it's often been criticised for weakening democratic institutions. In terms of Scotland, First Minister John Swinney has congratulated Magyar's election on social media platform X. However, Orban's loss will probably come as a blow to reform, given several of its leadership, including Nigel Farage himself, has expressed previous support for him.
Also, Iran dominated the news for another week, with peace talks collapsing leading to Trump ordering a US naval blockade. Trump also found the time to tell the UK that it should be making the most of the North Sea oil, whilst also making an AI-generated image of himself as Jesus, to which the Pope didn't respond very kindly to. Sticking with AI, me and Emily went out on the streets to see if you can tell your AI from your real photo.
Do you think that this image is real or fake?
That.
This one?
I can't even see it.
I think it could be real.
Real? Yeah, you're right.
That looks real.
I like him. No, I didn't like him. But
I do so bad. He's
yeah, I know.
getting stamina.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, he's right.
He's real? Yeah?
Aye.
Okay. How about this one with Rishi Sunak?
No,
Wait,
fake.
Who?
Fake.
Rishi Sunak.
No, that's
I
fake.
didn't like him.
And this one?
AI.
AI? Yeah.
Could be real.
Yeah, real. You're right.
Fake.
This one's actually real.
She's fake, sorry. There's no way AI generation is that good to recreate that person's face.
So you think it's real?
I think that's fake.
Fake.
Yes.
Yeah, it's real.
Oh,
Real or fake?
I think fake.
Real. Oh, I don't know. That looks a bit AI-ish.
This one's real.
Is it?
Yeah.
She's a bit heavier now. You know better than me.
And this one?
Real.
Absolutely spot on. Real.
Is it?
Oh, don't make her. No, it's fake.
Fake.
I need my glasses.
real.
This one's fake.
Fake.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that's real. That looks pretty real.
This one's fake.
Oh,
No,
Fake.
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 That's AI. Real.
Correct.
I think that's real.
Yeah, definitely real.
Oh, so what was that? 3 out of 4?
God, I don't like him.
That's Trump.
I know. I'll say, I think that's real.
You think that's real? You think it's real? Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure, but anyway.
This one's real.
Is it?
So that was an incredible series of Vox Pops we got there, and such amazing responses. It's interesting to see how people respond to AI images versus real ones, and there was a good kind of mix of responses there.
Yeah, definitely. You could tell the younger ones recognise the AI-generated images a lot quicker than people who are a bit older. What I find really interesting is that some people are very vocal about their political leanings. They kind of forgave the AI images a lot more than other people did.
I noticed that with a few of the people that we spoke to, when they saw photos of Nicola Sturgeon, and these people in particular who didn't like Nicola Sturgeon, they tended to assume that the photo of her wasn't real, which I think maybe is something that we could investigate on a wider scale or look at. It was definitely some kind of perhaps maybe cognitive bias there.
Absolutely.
We had our own try at making an AI deepfake video of politicians from Scotland. So we took some of the footage from Channel 4's debate night, where we had Malcolm Alford obviously having kind of a back and forth with Anna Sarwar, which was quite entertaining. And it didn't take us long to put something together just from one photo of the two of them standing next to each other.
No, absolutely not, and it's very convincing as well, but obviously we'll show it to the folks at home and come back and talk about it.
So it's pretty bizarre, right? It's bizarre, and but very good. Like,
Yeah, it's very good. I don't think Strictly's going to come knocking anytime soon, though.
yeah, I mean, it's a powerful tool, and you can really make anything out of it, which is part of the reason why it's so potentially dangerous. You know, I heard from Dr. Paul Riley, who we will have clipped up on the next show, about how some people online have been making deepfakes of Anna Sarwar. So this really is something that is, you know, potentially going to be a problem in Scotland. Maybe not right now, but definitely in the future could be a big problem for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get worse, because obviously it feeds off the data it gets online. That's part of the reason that Sora shutting down from OpenAI, because they can't compete with all the data that Google can collect for their AI. So
Yeah.
definitely a worrying trend.
Yeah, it's a data game, and it really is who has the most information and has the best tools out there. And at the moment, I mean, that was created with Grok, though there's a variety of tools that you can use that are somewhat, you know, even quicker if you pay.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a data game, and the only losers are us. And if you're at home worried that you'd get duped by AI images, Full Fact has made a helpful explainer video telling you to what to look out for.
What two-letter word do all these images have in common? That's right, they are all AI generated. But how can you tell? Trying to spot AI generated images can sometimes be like playing a high stakes game of Where's Wally. But once you know what you're looking for, it becomes a lot easier. The hand with too many or too few fingers is a classic AI mistake when generating images of people, and it's still being made by increasingly sophisticated AI tools. So remember to keep your eyes on fingers, arms, ears, toes, and teeth. The telltale AI mistakes might be in the details, so give it more than a first glance. Always look carefully and for longer. If something is AI, you'd be surprised at the mistakes you might find. And the golden rule for any image you're suspicious of is to try to trace the original. Use tools like Google Reverse Image Search and Yandex to find where else it's appeared online. Look for similar pictures of the same scenario from slightly different angles. And some AI images have watermarks that might be invisible or cropped out. A reverse image search can help to reveal these too. And finally, head to fullfact.org, where we regularly debunk this kind of misleading content as part of our work to tackle the spread of misinformation online.
Rachel, with less than a month to go before the election, what do you feel the attitude is among young voters in Scotland?
I mean, I think honestly a lot of young people are feeling really disheartened. I think with everything that's going on, they've been told from politicians that they are the future. They're the people that are going to change the world. They're going to do all this, but their voices just feel like they aren't being heard. I mean, it's the point. It's what the politicians are there to do. They're meant to listen, especially to young people, because they are the people that are going to be there.
Do you think there's any way to improve that?
I mean, definitely. I think obviously just maybe engaging more with what young people have to say. I mean, taking them seriously. I mean, we've seen measures made by the Green Party who are looking out for young people who have done stuff with free bus travel. I think that was a really important thing that was done a few years ago. And I think it is really important for parties and organisations to connect with these young people. I mean, earlier today we had the CEO of Young Scot, John Laughlin, in today to discuss young people's involvement in politics. So that's how this went.
Hi there, here I am with John Loughton. Thank you for coming into the studio today.
Thanks for having me.
And so first off, could you just give a brief introduction to who you are and what you do?
Yeah, of course. My name's John Loughton. I'm the Chief Executive of Young Scot. So lots of you will know Young Scot, a Young Scot card and other services. So we're the National Youth Information and Citizenship Agency here in Scotland.
And I understand you collaborated with the Youth Parliament to create a kind of study report on young people in politics. I'm curious to know what findings in the report really stood out to you.
Yeah, we work loads with the Youth Parliament and actually young people right across Scotland. And one of the things we did recently with the SYP as Young Scot was a sort of deep dive piece of research, surveying and working with hundreds of young people right across Scotland into understanding this thing we're hearing more and more about, this idea of deep fake, misinformation, disinformation, because they're different in understanding that. And the findings really started to show that this is a real and proper problem for young people in Scotland right now, and particularly young people compared to perhaps what adults faced when they were growing up and what they faced in terms of political discourse. So there's some really clear things that come out is a very large number, I think something like 8 in 10 young people recognise that politics is really important and affects their lives. But actually, only around half understand or feel able to engage in the political process in democracy. That's a big failing. It's something we need to challenge.
And why do you think it's important for young people to be involved in politics?
If young people aren't involved in politics, then I'd say what's the point in politics? Young people are not just the future of Scotland in this world, but they're the present and the now. Their involvement is critical to making good decisions, to having safe communities, to having forward-looking societies, to challenging hate, to challenging polarisation, because I think young people are full of so much ingenuity, ideas, passion, and humanity, and that's so important to make society a better place. But also by bringing young people in, it gives them early recognition of their own voice and agency, and helps overall make Scotland a much better place to live and grow up in.
Yeah, and you mentioned sort of deep fakes and misinformation spread online. I'd be interested to hear you expand a bit on how young people are facing some unique challenges in politics today that they might not have faced in the past.
Yeah, so what are things we're seeing? So we're talking about mis and disinformation. Misinformation is what people kind of, in a nutshell, is wrong facts, putting things out inaccurately, which we just get stuff wrong and we can purport untruth very easily. It has a viral moment, we hit retweet or re-like or share or whatever without a second thought. Disinformation is a proactive, knowingly altering facts for the sake of driving forward an agenda. So we're seeing a real merging and confusing of these, and we talk about a post-truth society. There's that phrase that the story's got his boots on and halfway around the world before truth's even got going. So there's something about how do young people, and all of us now, navigate the digital Wild West with knowing what's real and what's not. And we're seeing disinformation systemically pushed out by certain areas of society to intentionally target young people, to intentionally target communities, to stoke up hate, stoke up fear, or stoke up information to achieve a political agenda, as opposed to it. Actually, what we need to do is, how do we sort of put our first aid kit or our sort of, our shield and armoury on to navigate this better, to spot fakes, to spot where perhaps there's attempted manipulation of storytelling or facts out there. And that's really important, particularly in an election period. But what you want is good quality, trusted information to let young people make their own minds up. And that's really, really important.
To read Young Scot's report on young people and misinformation in politics, visit youngscot.net. Now, I believe that you've made a film about algorithms.
Yes, I have. I think algorithms are such a big part of media, especially social media. And I mean, what do we know about them? A lot of people, if this isn't something that you learn in university or take, hours out of your day to kind of sit and think about, what are the things that we see on our feeds? You can sit there and scroll for hours, but why are you seeing what you see?
I just get Italian brain rot, so still. In the year of our Lord 2026.
What age are you?
No, I'm not disclosing that. I don't have a Young Scot bus pass. That's all that matters.
Old enough, yeah. But I think algorithms are just so important, and especially with the election, everything that we're seeing is tailored towards preferences. So I was lucky enough to have a chat with Strathclyde professor, Dr. Camilla Montevere, to talk a bit more about algorithms and how that ties into misinformation that is spread online. And here's a clip from it now. Every day we scroll on social media without really taking the time to wonder why we see what we see. But behind every post is an algorithm deciding what's on your feed and what isn't. In the lead up to the Scottish election, this is more important than ever. So I'm at the University of Strathclyde to find out a little bit more about algorithms and how they impact what we see.
So an algorithm is a series of instructions of how a social media feed, for example, should behave. So basically what they do, an algorithm is a code in which there is a set of instructions and a set of procedures to how this a social media feed, for example, should behave. Because the algorithm not only responds to the priorities defined by social media platforms, but also to how we as users like or engage with different kinds of content.
So how, to what extent would you say that this actually impacts what someone sees when it comes to news content that's been put on social media?
So it depends. The role of the algorithms depends on the platform we are looking at, but we can say that to a certain extent there is a combination between people's preferences. We can train our algorithms to say that we like news and that we want to get more informed to what the platforms prioritize. And the perception that there is misinformation going on and that we live in an environment that is full of misinformation might make people feel that that news and political affairs and civic topics are just too complicated for them to engage, and that's where things start becoming more problematic. The main effect that we see of misinformation is not necessarily deceiving people to believe in things that in false claims, but it is making the information environment so hard to navigate and so complicated that they feel that they are better to stepping away and not engaging with civic topics and with civic affairs.
So in what ways would you say that social media and traditional news can impact people's political views?
There is a relationship, and we found in different studies, between being on social media and finding and being exposed to conspiracy theories and to misinformation, and in some cases also to believing in conspiracy theories and in misinformation. So this doesn't mean that social media creates that, but it means that people that are on social media tend to be more exposed to these things.
What would you kind of say to either young people or old people that are worried that they might be kind of falling for misinformation?
Finding sources that you find reliable and that you trust, and often sources that come from traditional news organizations, particularly those that are that come from public service media like the BBC. They tend to do a great job, and they tend to be good sources for getting factual information. You can find perspectives and you can find opinions in other places, and that's fine, but I think it's important to get the facts right first.
Now, Rachel, do you feel that many people know about algorithms?
I mean, I think people hear the word algorithms a lot, especially on the news, with all the stuff going on with AI. But I don't think people really know what algorithms are and the role that they play in everything that we see. I think people don't realise that paid sponsorships or ads, everything down to the things that you like, how long you look at a post, all of that has like a role to play in what you see.
Do you think that plays a large part in young people's political opinions?
Oh, of course. I don't know about your feed with the Italian brain rot, but I think a lot of people, especially in the lead up to the election, are seeing from every candidate, they're getting fed all this propaganda in a way. We see on YouTube, I keep getting clips from the Labour Party, but then on Instagram, I'll get SNP, Facebook will have Reform. I mean, it's just everywhere.
Honestly, I would call, this isn't a party endorsement, but some of the marketing from the Labour Party on Instagram has almost resembled brain rot. Which is quite interesting. No, like it's very trying to tap into trends that are popular with younger people.
I mean, think of like a few years ago, you were seeing Lib Dem leaders jumping off of like cranes and bungee jumps. They do everything to just kind of get that extra bit of attention to kind of seem kind of, I don't know, a bit more hip or like with the young people, you know.
And in terms of for the people watching the show, finding out about algorithms, do you have any resources at all that they could look at?
I think what it is just looking at full fact. They are constantly telling you kind of where misinformation is being spread. I mean, with Peter Mandelson, there was a case there where there was all this stuff going about with him wearing a dressing gown, when he wasn't. It was AI, and I think there's so many cases of it now. I mean, we've seen earlier in the show with people trying to discern what is AI and what isn't. So I think there's that. I mean, always looking for non-partisan sources of media. Don't just read a headline and go, yep, that's what it means, because it means so much more than just that.
And honestly, I mean, in my head, I'm thinking another way forward is just analog media, sort of newspapers, read a book, your local library is still open.
There are still some out there.
There are still some. Inverness Bus Station Library, great place to read. Now, earlier today, on the topic of misinformation and algorithms, our correspondent Santi was out in Glasgow speaking to the Scottish Lib Dems leader, Alex Cole-Hamilton.
Well, we are living in a time where online tech is outstripping policy, in the sense that parliaments across the world are struggling to catch up with the developments in AI and deepfakes and misinformation. And we've seen, I think, in horrifying clarity, the example of X and Grok in particular, generating masses of online very troubling pornography, nudification, distorting celebrities into horrendous deepfake videos, and all almost without reply. And it was, there was one point where Elon Musk, I think, was laughing at the parliaments of the world. I think we need an international global convention, both on AI and misinformation. We need to ensure that Ofcom has the power to move with haste and with pace to take down illegal AI-generated images, and we need to protect artists from AI scraping that will rob them of their intellectual property. Well, I think it concerns me in several ways. Firstly, it's hard to engage people with politics at the best of times when they can't believe what they're seeing online, that people are just going to turn away. And apathy breeds oppression. It really does. If we want an active citizenry, we will need people to have faith in what they're reading online, faith in what politicians are telling them. But also, with all the AI slop and the deep fakes out there, there's a point at which, real wrongdoing will go undetected because it will be dismissed as deep fake, even if it's real. And I think that's a very concerning reality as well. Also, we're living in a world where people inhabit constructs of their own creation, and they're in echo chambers where there's no kind of proper fact checking or ability to understand a different point of view. That's not healthy in any democracy. I think it's really important that you understand all sides of a debate before you take a side, and we're just not getting that. I'm certainly not opposed to it. I mean, it's rather dispiriting that we would have to legislate to stop parliamentarians lying. I mean, one of the things, several things we want to do to clean up our politics, and Lib Dems are actually bringing this forward in our manifesto for the Scottish Parliament, is to introduce an Accountability Act, which does things, for example, like introduces a contempt of Parliament rule, which we don't have in the Scottish Parliament, that Westminster has, that when government openly defies the will of Parliament, there are recriminations. There is an outcome from that. There's no reason why we couldn't put something similar into the pages of that Accountability Act. But we also want to go further, and that's introducing the right of recall, where parliamentarians who have found to have committed an offence can be subject to recall petition and a by-election if their constituents decide that. And we also want to make sure that all politicians are subjected to the same disclosure checks that youth workers and social workers are in respect of the time and opportunity we have with vulnerable adults and with children.
What an incredible interview Santi managed to get. It's amazing, and hopefully we can get some more politicians joining us over the next couple of weeks. Maybe John Swinney, Anna Sarwar. Let's see what will happen. What an incredible interview to get, and thanks to Santi for getting it. It's amazing. Hopefully we can get some more politicians on the show. Anna Sarwar, John Swinney. We'll see what happens.
Absolutely. And with that concludes another week of Future Proof. Don't forget to join us this Friday at 12:30 for our webinar, where we'll be joined with political correspondent of The Scotsman, Rachel Amery. But for now, it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.